All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today we're looking at the source material to decode a fascinating, yet honestly, completely unsettling psychological framework, the dark triad. We're going to look closely at a set of personality traits that operate entirely under the radar in our day-to-day lives. They often wear this perfect mask of charm, charisma, and undeniable magnetism. So we're going to explore a completely different lens through which to view human behavior, specifically the kind of behavior that just leaves you feeling drained, confused, and second-guessing your very own reality.
Think about your own life for a second. Have you ever found yourself in a relationship or maybe a workplace dynamic where what initially felt like this intense, undeniable passion slowly revealed itself to be a trap? You know the exact feeling I'm talking about. At first, it's overwhelmingly positive, right? Someone is paying absolute attention to you. They seem to understand exactly what you want to hear, and the bond just feels incredibly deep, incredibly fast. But then, almost imperceptibly, the walls start closing in. That hyper-focused attention turns into monitoring, and what felt like a deep connection suddenly starts to feel a whole lot like a tether. You see, it's incredibly easy to get caught in the confusing blur between a truly intense relationship and a highly manipulative one. And honestly, it's because as humans, we're hardwired to seek connection. We all want to be seen, we want to be understood, and valued. When someone seems to fulfill those needs perfectly, our natural defenses just completely drop. We don't assume we're being played, we assume we found something profoundly special. But, as the research from our source material clearly shows, that blur, that is precisely where certain personalities absolutely thrive.
Section 1. The Illusion of Passion. Section 2. Meet the Dark Triad.
So, what exactly is the dark triad? Well, it's a rigorously studied clinical concept encompassing 3 distinct yet overlapping malevolent personality traits. Look, this isn't just some pop psychology buzzword you throw around when a guy cuts you off in traffic. It's a very specific framework that outlines a tendency towards self-promotion, emotional coldness, duplicity, and aggressiveness. And when these traits overlap in one single individual, it creates a highly complex and often dangerous social predator.
There are 3 core pillars here, and each has its own distinct driving force. First up, narcissism. This one is driven by ego and grandiosity. It's this deep-seated belief that they are fundamentally superior to everyone else and just naturally deserve special treatment. Next, we have Machiavellianism. Think of a master chess player, but the pieces are actual human beings. The core driver here is strategic exploitation. It's a cynical disregard for morality, focusing solely on self-interest and deception just to get ahead. And finally, psychopathy. In this specific context, we're talking about subclinical psychopathy, which is driven by callousness, impulsivity, and thrill-seeking, combined with a severe lack of empathy or remorse. Now, just imagine someone possessing a blend of all 3 of these drivers. That, my friends, is the whole shebang. That's the dark triad.
Section 3. The Architecture of Manipulation.
The absolutely crucial concept to grasp here is the massive contrast in how these individuals actually operate in the real world. They present a highly charming, magnetic surface, while a cold, calculating machine runs underneath. This is the script they operate by. Think about it. If they walked into a room scowling and treating everyone terribly, they'd be ostracized immediately. So experience has taught them to be incredibly charming. They're often the most well-liked people in the office, the most charismatic dates, the folks who literally make you feel like $1,000,000. But underneath that shiny surface, every single interaction is an equation. They are constantly calculating risks, rewards, and figuring out exactly how you fit into their ultimate goals.
Section 4. Empathy as a Weapon. This brings us to a terrifyingly counterintuitive concept from the source material. We usually think of empathy as a positive, pro-social trait, right? But psychologists differentiate between affective empathy, which is actually feeling what someone else is feeling, and cognitive empathy, which is simply understanding what someone else is feeling without emotionally sharing it at all. Well, individuals high in dark triad traits have highly tuned cognitive empathy. They can walk into a room, scan the dynamics, pinpoint your insecurities, notice what brings you joy, and perfectly read the emotional temperature. But, and here is the chilling part, they read emotional rooms not to connect, but to identify leverage. Your emotional data becomes the exact tool they use to manipulate you later.
Section 5. Survival, not paranoia.
Now, understanding all of this isn't about being scared, and it's definitely not about jumping at shadows. Spotting these behaviors isn't you being paranoid. It is an absolute survival skill in modern dynamics. Because these individuals are so adept at camouflage, the damage they do can be profound before you even realize what hit you. By learning this framework, by really understanding the narcissist's need for grandiosity, the Machiavellian strategic exploitation, and the psychopath's callousness, you equip yourself with an early warning system. You start to notice when the charm feels, a little too rehearsed, or when someone's actions consistently fail to align with their beautiful words.
But we do have to make a super important reframe here, because it's vital we stay grounded. People make mistakes, and not every single person who hurts you possesses dark triad traits. Actually, scratch that. Human relationships are just incredibly messy. People can be selfish, they can have bad days, they might lack emotional intelligence, or maybe they're just simply incompatible with you. Someone breaking your heart or a boss passing you over for a promotion doesn't automatically make them a Machiavellian psychopath. We really have to avoid the temptation to clinicalize every single negative interaction. The dark triad is a specific, consistent, and pervasive pattern of exploitation, not just a one-off mistake.
Knowing the signs protects you specifically from two really dangerous mix-ups: confusing toxic manipulation for deep intensity and mistaking calculated control for genuine passion. When you understand the dark triad, you realize that the sudden, overwhelming bombardment of affection, what people often call love bombing, isn't a sign of soulmate-level intensity. It's a manipulation tactic to secure your loyalty. You realize that someone wanting to know your every move and monopolize your time isn't a sign of undeniable passion, it's the establishment of control. You essentially learn to differentiate between a healthy, steady burn and a totally destructive wildfire.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to look at your own circles. Are the intense dynamics in your life fueled by genuine connection or calculated control? Take a step back and examine the underlying mechanics of your relationships, whether professional or personal. Is there mutual respect, empathy, and compromise? Or is there a subtle, unshakable feeling that you're constantly being maneuvered on a chessboard you can't even see? Understanding the psychology of the dark triad gives you the clarity to answer that question honestly.